Okay, today we're going to be looking at finding 10% or 1% of a number. So yesterday we were talking about how percent is equal to percent or per 100. Okay, so if we were talking about 1%, that would be equal to 1 over 100, or 50% would be equal to 50 over 100, or 82% would of course be equal to 82 over 100. Okay, so whatever percentage we have is just equivalent to the common fraction of that number over 100 for every 100. All right, so if we're talking about 1% today, okay, how I would find 1% of 100 is 1 over 100, of course it is, but what we're doing really is we're dividing, let's find 1% of 100, okay? So I want to find 1/100th of 100, all right? And all we're going to do is we're going to divide the number that we have. So we have 100, say we have 100 pieces of chocolate, okay? And I have to split it into 100 people. So I would do 100 divided by 100, and that would equal 1. So 1% of 100 is also equal to 1. Okay? If we're trying to find 1% of 200, for example, we need 1% or 1 per 100 of 200. So again, we have this 200 and we need to split it into 100 parts. So we'd go 100 divided by, or 200, sorry, divided by 100. And that, as we know, if we had our hundreds, tens, and units column, and we had 200, and we wanted to divide by 100, we'd just be moving everything over 2 columns. So I'd move the 2 over into the units, and those zeros would go after the decimal place, so we'd end up with 2. Okay, so finding 1% of anything, all we're doing is dividing by 100. All right, so 1% of, let's say, 1% of any number equals that number, the number divided by 100. We can do it with anything. We could do, say we wanted to find 1% of 687. All right, so we would just take 687 and we would divide it by 100, which means we're moving everything over 2 columns. Okay, so if I had my hundreds, tens, units, tenths, and hundredths, I need those. And I had 687. Everything's getting 100 times smaller, which means it's got to move to the right 2 columns. So we move everything over 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So the 7, 8. Ooh, that's not very good. 8 decimal 6. So we end up with 6.87. So 1% of 687 is equal to 6.87 because I've just divided by 100. Okay, which makes it, once we know what 1% of 687 is, then we can find, let's say, any number. We could find 4% of 687, because then all of a sudden I know that 1% is equal to 6.87, and then in order to find 4%, all I have to do is take 6.87 and multiply that by 4, because that's what I'm looking for. and I would end up with my answer. I'm not going to pretend to be a human calculator, so I'm not going to do it right now, but that's in essence what we would do if we wanted to find 4% of something, or 5% of something, or 6%, or 7%, or 8%, or 9%. Things get a little bit more complicated when, actually not more complicated, they get even easier when we're talking about so that's what we do to find 1%. To find 1% of something, we divide by 100, because 1% is 1 over 100, so we divide by 100. All right, if we wanted to find 10% of any number, okay, what would we do? So I'll turn those into, I'll use the red for that to make it a bit more clear. Right, if I wanted to find 10% of any number, well, let's think. What is 10%? 10% is 10 over 100, which is also equal to 1 over 10. So we've got 10 over 100 equal to 1 over 10. And when I wanted to find 1%, I divided by 100 because it was 1 over 100. But now we've got 1 over 10. So you've guessed it. To find 10% of any number, we just divide by 10. So I've ended up with, let's put that, I'll put it in green. Where's my green? 10% is equal to 10 over 100, which is also equal to 1 over 10. All right, so we know that. So if I want to find 10% of 100, for example, I divide by 10. So it would be 100 divided by 10, which is equal to 10. So 10% of 100 is equal to 10. I can do the same with any other number. So 10% of 400, let's say, as our same example, would be 400 divided by 10, which is equal to 40. Okay? And being able to find 1% or find 10% is going to help us solve all sorts of problems. So let's say we go to the shop. Oh, let's finish this first. The 10% of any number is the number divided by 10. Okay, just moving over one column instead of two, because as we know we have a base 10 number system, and when we divide by 100 we move over two columns. When we divide by 10 we just move over the one. So let's say, for example, we go to the shop, okay, and you want to buy a t-shirt, okay, and the t-shirt is listed as, let's say, 1945, okay, but there's a sticker on the sign that says it's 10% off, okay, and so you're trying to work out, well, what does that even mean? What is 10% of 1945? Easy. We've got 1945. In order to find 10%, we've told you that you just divide by 10. So I'm going to divide my number by 10, which is going to equal, if I move everything over one decimal place, 1.945, right? And so that is the amount that we have to take off. Now, if you're shopping at the shop and you see that number, £1.94, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be rounding that up to £2. So it's about £2 off, approximately. Okay, so 1945, take away my £2, my shirt is then approximately, not equal to, but approximately equal to 17.45. Okay, what if we went to the shop and all of a sudden I saw that, in fact, the shirt wasn't 10% off, it was actually 30% off. Now I'm thinking, bargain. Still, would be really, really simple. If we're trying to find a multiple of 10 off, we just divide by 10 again, which is 1.945. I'm going to round that up to 1.95, okay? And then to find 30%, which is 3 lots of 10, I would take the amount that it was off, £1.95, and I would just multiply that by my 3 lots of 10, okay, which would be 3, 6, take away, I hope. Okay, so it would be about £5.85 off, and I would take that off my my top, and I'd be about £14, just under £14. Okay, so what we can do is we can use what we know about 1% and what we know about 10% to help us solve these more complex problems. Okay, let's say you're at the shop and you're trying to buy a book. Okay, and this book is a book that you've always wanted to read. Don't know what it might be, it depends on what you're interested in, but let's say that this book is, let's make it a nice even number, let's say it's £15, okay? But there's a sign that says 30, oh no, let's not do 30 this time, we already did 30. We'll say it's 67% off. And you're thinking, whoa, that's a lot of money off, but how much money is that really? Okay, so we're going to just do a little bit of partitioning here, okay? We know how to find 10% of something, and we know how to find 1% of something. So let's just work out how we're going to do that here. So we've got 6 tens and 7 units. Okay, so if I can work out what 10% is, then I can work out what 60% is. And if I can work out what 1% is, then I can work out what 7% is. And then we can add them together to figure out how much money I have off. So first things first, let's start with 10%. So what is 10% of 15? Be equal to 15 divided by 10, because we know that to get 10% of something we divide by 10, which would be equal to 1.5. Okay, so for every 10% off, I'm getting 1.5. Now, but I have 6 tens, so I've got to take my 1.5 off, and I've got to multiply that by 6, which is going to be equal to £9. So first and foremost, I've got £9 off of my 15, but that's just 6 tens, that's just 60% off. So then we got to work out my units here. So what is 1% of 15? Okay, this time I've got to divide by 100, so it's going to be 15 divided by 100, which is equal to 15 pence. Okay, so I've got 15 pence, but again, I need 7 of them. So I need to do 15 pence times my 7% that I have here, which is 30, 60, 90, 105, oh, £1.05. Okay, so I've got £9 off here, and another, oh, forgot my pound sign, another £1.05 off here. So if I add those two together, it's going to be £10 and 5 pence off. So I'm going to be down to £4.95. All right, so then we can work out how much your new price is going to be. Okay, let's just do one more example, just because I'm aware that there's lots of different parts to this. So let's pretend you're buying a present for your mom. It's your mom's birthday, it's coming up. You're getting a present for mom, and let's say that this present is £20, okay? But there's a nice shop sale going on, and everything in the shop is 23% off. Yeah, 23% off. So normally in a shop you won't actually find 23% off. It's going to be something, and it usually is a multiple of 10 or 25, or yeah, multiple of 10 or 25 or 5, but that's neither here or there. We'll just do this for today. Okay, so £20 gift, but it's 23% off. So let's partition this number again, because we know how to find 10% and 3%. So we'll split this into our 2 tens and our, or I'll write 2 tens, sorry. 2 tens and our 3 units. All right, so let's find, first and foremost, let's find 10% of 20. So I need to find 10% first and foremost. So I'm going to take 20 and I'm going to divide by how much again? 10% of any number is that number divided by 10. So I'm going to divide by 10, and 20 divided by 10. Oh, actually, I forgot my units. 20 be 2 pounds. Okay. But I need 2 of those, so it's actually going to be 2 pounds times twice, which is in fact going to be 4 pounds. So far we've got 4 pounds off. All right, and then we got to find our units, or the units of percentage off. So we got 3%. So if I find 1% first, so 1% of 20 pounds, we are going to divide by 100. So 1% of any number we divide by 100. So we divide 20 by 100, and I'm going to end up with 0.2 pounds or 20 pence, but I need 3 of those. I need 3 units, so I multiply that by 3, which is 60 pence. So I've got 4 pounds 60 off my price, so I'm going to end up paying $15.40 for my gift, which isn't bad actually. Nice gift for mom. Keep mom happy. Save yourself 4 pounds. Maybe get yourself a smoothie. Anyways, so that's how we find 10% and 1%.